Good morning, everybody. You're tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next couple of hours, along with Spence.
Good morning.
Good morning. And Gal is here.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. And Katie.
Good morning.
Morning. And Nick is here too. Oh yeah, Nick is here.
I'm so demoralized. Good morning. I'm literally doing specials. I found the best special of the week.
Uh-oh.
Clipped it, put it in the specials, refresh the freaking Amazon page, and the price is back up to the original.
Oh, jeez. Well, that's Amazon. Anyway.
I'm so demoralized.
Our number is 919-518-9773. Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And today's show is sponsored and made possible by vMix Software and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear. So another week gone by.
Yep. I have a story. Can I tell my story now?
You can absolutely tell your story.
So this story is about scammers on Facebook Marketplace. And my mom's trying to get rid of some furniture, so I took pictures and I uploaded it to my Facebook, and she said, "Oh, you could just teach me and I'll do it." And I was like, I don't know. I think I'll do it because there's a lot of things you got to watch out for. It's very sneaky. And sure enough, got 10 messages right off the bat. It turned out every single one of them was a scammer. And what gave them away is 7 of them had the same template, meaning that it was, "Is this item available?" You say, "Yes, it is." And then they respond with, "Perfect, I want it. Give me your phone number." And it was the exact same thing, exact same characters. And so, and if you can click on their profiles to see if they're a real person. And so it was just like an image, but the rest of the profile was blank. So I was like, okay, this is a throwaway account. So blocked, deleted, reported, blah, 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 blah. And then there was another one where I would say yes, and they didn't have the same template. And we went back and forth a couple messages talking about the item. And then they're like, "Okay, well, give me your phone number. I want to talk offline." Immediately, no. And then finally I got the last one, and we went back and forth. It actually was a person. I went to their profile. They had friends, they had posts, and blah, 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 blah. And they're like, "This is great. I really want this item." Uh, and I said, "Okay, great. I take cash, Venmo, or PayPal, or whatever." And they're like, "Let's do Venmo." So I send them my Venmo, and then they send me an image. In the image, they're like, "Hey, I need your email account because it won't let me add you to Venmo or whatever." And they send me the image, like they screenshotted their phone, but when I opened it, the image was pixelated. And I'm a graphics person. I'm like, Why is this image?" I mean, I didn't ask them, but internally, I was like, "Why is this image pixelated? If it was a screen capture from your phone, then it should be crystal clear." Meaning that somewhere in the pipeline, this image got compressed, and if they really did screen cap it from their phone, it wouldn't have been compressed. So I was like, "This is fishy." So I went back to their profile and I did some more investigative work. And the last post they had was from 2018. And I was like, "Oh, this is probably a hacked profile." And so I said, I'm like, "I don't know." So I said, "Well, if my Venmo is not going to work for you, then give me your Venmo and I'll send a money request." And they go, "No, I can't do that because it's a business account." And I was like, well, that's the whole point of Venmo is to give somebody your Venmo, and it's convenient to send money between people that don't know each other, blah blah blah. And this is too complicated. And I said, "Nope, I want cash." And then immediately they just stopped talking to me. Yeah, but the whole scam was that they wanted my email because I looked it up. And what they'll do is if when they get your email, they send you official quote unquote Venmo emails that says that, oh look, I sent you the money. Did you get it? And here's the email I got from Venmo that said I sent it, blah 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 blah. And then eventually they get your account information and blah 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 because you're like, wow, if it says here Venmo gave it to me, but Venmo didn't give it to me, blah 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 blah. And anyways, so
Yeah, I was wondering how they would do this because I mean, how can you be? Were they claiming to be local?
yeah, because they're like, oh, my cousin's gonna come pick it up, and
My cousin. Oh
yeah,
yeah,
he could
yeah.
come at 7 and blah
He's
blah
a
blah.
moron, so he can't talk on. You can't do anything online.
There's another one of these, and I'm surprised you didn't get this one, Katie. Did anybody try to get you to use Zelle?
No, because I told them I don't use Zelle, and I know that Zelle's really easy to scam from.
Yeah.
I did have one guy go, "Oh, this is great. I really want this thing. Can I send you no, can I send you a 6-digit number or whatever? I need to get a 6-digit number." And I said, and I replied back, I was like, "No, this is a scam. F you. Bye."
Well,
I actually
go ahead, Spence. No, go ahead.
I was selling a car last year, and I put the car out there, and it was a good deal. And I found a car I screened the first couple of people. I had people get mad at me and give me nasty comments because I had 100 people asking about the car, and I didn't respond to everyone. Finally, I said, look, I went back to this one person and said, what do you expect me to do? The car sold yesterday. Look at the ad is gone, and you're still calling me. Oh, didn't you respond to me? It's like,
in regards to the Venmo thing, there is a Venmo will ask you for the last 4 digits of somebody's phone number. That is a real thing that Venmo does. So that part is not a scam. Asking for an email is absolutely a scam.
Well,
Like, for example,
this person wasn't asking for a phone number or whatever. We didn't even talk about what kind of payment. It was originally, do you have this item? It's still available. The person's like, great, I want it. I need a 6-digit number that I'm gonna send you. Blah blah.
No, I'm saying for your Venmo guy that asked for your email address. For example, since you would, well, maybe you and me not, but for example, I run the Young Republicans here. We do our I do our yearly dues via Venmo. And if like more than 2 people send me money within like a 20-minute period of time, the third or fourth person will get a pop-up that says to send this money to Nick. What is the last 4 of his cell phone number? So that is a common thing.
Okay.
That's a normal
Nick,
thing.
but
The email is not. That is a scam. But if you're selling something and somebody asks for your last 4 of your phone number for Venmo, that is a real thing that happens. I think it's some reason to stop. I think it's to stop fraudulent transactions or spoof transactions or something like that.
Probably so you don't launder money.
Yeah, it's literally so. Like, for example, when we have our meetings, I print out like a little half sheet of paper with the Venmo QR code on it for people to scan, and under the Venmo QR code, I put the last 4 of my cell phone number so that when people try and send me money, they can just type it right in.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now you're saying that Venmo will send you a
Venmo doesn't do anything. It just says for you to send this payment, if I want to send Katie the payment, I need to know Katie's last 4 digits of her phone number. It doesn't send her anything. It's just a simple verification that I'm actually trying to send money to Katie.
And Katie, they wanted to send you a 6-digit.
No, they wanted to send her an email.
No,
which is
she
not
said one
the
of them
case.
was saying about 6.
Yeah, one of them said that, hey, I need a 6-digit code to confirm something, and they probably wanted me to give them my email, and so with that scam, I think that one is like, well, you
Two-factor
need,
authentication.
yeah, authentication. So, but the thing, the thing that tipped me off again, with the one with the Venmo scam, is that they sent me an image, like they were screenshotted their phone, and it was pixelated. That's the thing that as soon as I saw it, immediately I was like, "This is weird. Why is it pixelated?" This because I mean, it might have been a legit photoshopped image or whatever from Venmo that said they need their email because it looked just like it had their UI, it had the colors, it had the same font, like it looked legit, except it was pixelated. And like I said, there's no reason for a screenshot on a phone to be pixelated. And the only especially from phone to phone, the only time images get pixelated is when they get compressed. And that's like when it switches file types from whatever an Apple phone takes to a JPEG or whatever. And the Apple image screen cap is a higher resolution, and they compress it to a JPEG. And the pixels like blur out or whatever.
All right.
I
So
was like,
the
dang.
question is,
Yeah.
did you get any legitimate requests?
One out of about 12 people, only one person was legit.
So did he buy something?
No,
Oh.
I'm selling
Okay.
stools, and they weren't the right height for what they
Okay.
were looking for
Alright.
their counters or whatever.
Interesting.
But yeah, I was like, dang, because I've used Facebook Marketplace before. Actually, I used it quite frequently last year when I was getting ready to move, and I might have had some scammers, but I had a lot more legitimate people that it like drowned out the scammers. And so like I sold the stuff before I had to deal with the scammers, I guess. But this time it's crazy.
Huh. All right. Spence, you want to talk about?
Oh yes, about my learning curve experience with Windows 11. So I bought a Lenovo laptop several months ago, and I just hadn't gotten to the point where I was going to put it into regular service yet. Planned on it. I bought a docking station. I had a plan for how I was going to use my 2 monitors and all that, cleared space on my shelf next to my desk, and was using it occasionally. And then my i3, my old i3, the one that you gave me, Amnon. Remember the desktop? You probably don't remember. It's probably like 7 years ago.
Yeah.
You gave me an i3, first generation i3, and it died. It was a tower system board died. And so I'm moving over to a Lenovo machine. So I got everything. I have a plan. I'm, going down my checklist, install the software, move my documents over. And OneDrive apparently comes on Windows 11. I think we talked about this last week.
Yeah, because I was dealing with it and it's driving me nuts.
It comes enabled and automatically, unless you can bypass doing the Microsoft login, it's going to start and it's going to run. And it will just take everything in its profile, documents, photos, and start uploading them to the cloud. The first reason I had an inkling something was wrong was it said, your OneDrive is full, you need to buy more space. What? What are you talking? Anytime I've had OneDrive, I've just deleted it. I don't ever use it. So I had copied my stuff over, and literally my document folder is empty. So I realized what's happening, and I uninstalled OneDrive. But now I'm stuck with the OneDrive folder alias. It's not an alias. It is an alias in File Manager because you can't see that the path is different. You click on documents, it looks like it's part of your user folder, but it's actually username OneDrive /documents. So here I am trying to undo all that. And in order to do this, you need to do a registry change. You can't just move the stuff over and expect it to work because it breaks all the links to, like, for example, you go into PowerPoint, you want to pull up local documents, they're not there because it's not username documents, it's username Outlook, OneDrive documents. So after digging into this, I decided it's not worth it right now for me to try to fix this. Because I don't want to create a problem. I just want it to work for now. So I've accepted that this is the way it's going to be for a while until I play around with it. But oh gosh, it added so much frustration to the whole process.
Yeah.
So we talked last week about OneDrive on Gall to just uninstall it. I went and I uninstalled it and it didn't do anything. Like it's still there, even though it says it's not there. Like I
Yes.
could it's just
Where
Ah!
How
where
did you uninstall?
Huh?
How did you uninstall?
I went and typed uninstall and it brought up the Microsoft thing and it says it's not there. but I could still maybe it isn't there, but it still has the files and stuff. Like,
Well, it's
The
not going to
folders
delete
remain
files.
behind.
Yeah, all the registry information is there. And
well,
that's
what I wanted it to do was not to say. I don't know exactly how it works, but when I was running into my problem with OneDrive, I was putting files on my desktop to test them, and my desktop said username OneDrive desktop, and I was like, why does it say that? That's so dumb. And so I don't know.
Well, I had a situation with OneDrive this week too, and I called Gal and talked about it. A user with Windows 11 had a problem with his email. He says, "I'm not. I'm in." And he's very meticulous at putting messages in their own folders for his friends, for business, for this, for that. And he said, "I'll move some messages to this mailbox, and I'll go to look at them, and they're not there. But they're not in the original mailbox either. It's like they disappeared, and I don't understand what's going on." So he came by. I said, "Well, you need to bring it over and see." So he came by, and sure enough, they're not there. So I did a search. Instead of going to the mailbox and looking at them, which they're not there, you go up to the top, and this is Outlook. Yeah. And you can type the email address that you're looking for. And a whole bunch of them showed up in different folders. So one folder, the first one was right next to the one that right below the one that he was trying to move it in. I said, "You probably moved it to the wrong place. You just clicked on it by mistake." And he says, and I said, "Let's look." So I went to that folder. Nope, they're not there. I said, "Okay, we looked at the other place. Nothing, they're not there, but you could open them from that search." So I said, "Okay, let me send you an email, and I'm going to move that email to another folder and see what happens." And I did. Nope, it's not there. It disappeared. Search for it. Sure enough, it says that it's in that folder that he moved it into, but it wouldn't show when you go to that folder. It's like it's hidden. So I started looking and
No,
looking. What?
not hidden. The index hasn't updated yet. That's all. So
But
when you're searching of something that was indexed. You moved it, and so the search results still point to the original location.
okay, but he
So
was. I
only
mean,
after you refresh the index, only then
what do you
you
mean? Well,
find it
okay,
in the new location.
explain. Refresh the index. You have to
So you're
manually
doing
do
this on
something.
the you're doing this on the desktop computer, right?
Yeah,
On the desktop Outlook.
actually, it is. Yeah, it's a laptop. Yeah.
Right. So the desktop Outlook is hooked up to something called Windows Search,
Okay.
the built-in search engine that is baked into Windows.
Okay.
Okay. And so you can actually go to settings of the Windows index. So you can see that it indexed the Outlook mailbox files. So what happens is if he's using Outlook, is he using your mail service or is he using
No,
Outlook?
he's using his own. It's on Roadrunner. It's on Spectrum. His mailbox is on
Okay.
Spectrum.
Okay. So when he's moving things in his desktop Outlook, he's moving it across within a file, a PST or something like that, right?
Yeah,
A
correct.
database of mail that's managed by Outlook.
Correct.
The search results there at first, they're coming just from the index. So if you haven't re-indexed, which is there's a set of clicks that you can do in Outlook to re-index, right? Then it won't show up until it re-indexes that. But once it doesn't find, or once the search has taken, I don't know, a few seconds, there's a link that shows up, says, show me, search everything. And then it actually searches the actual database. It's slower, but it might find whatever's missing.
Okay, but how? Let's go back to the indexing. I mean, you
Right.
can't. I don't believe that people that use Outlook go in index, click on
No, it's
something.
periodically.
Okay, what
It's
is
periodically.
any idea? Because this was happening to him for about 2 weeks.
Well, the question is,
Wait.
what made it start?
Right.
No idea. But this was the first time he noticed this was about 2 weeks ago that he said, "Where are these messages? I need them," and he couldn't find them. So he had his friend send him another email. So it's not like it
Right,
was
but
just
that's hold on. So he was missing just because he misplaced them, right? Because they were still there. He
well,
came to
no,
you, you did the search,
no.
you found them,
Hold
right?
it. What happened is he put it in. He moved 4 messages from the inbox to a folder
Right.
with the name of his friend. But 2 weeks
But he
ago.
missed it and put it on
No,
a
no, no.
folder
He
next
put
to
it.
it.
No, the search on this one said that they were in that folder that his friend's name. But that folder, when you go there, is empty. There's nothing there. There was one that I kept on looking at other ones. I said, okay, what else is missing? What else is missing? And he was telling me, and one of them was saying that it was in a folder below that friend's name or below where it's supposed to be. And I said, okay, so you could have just pointed at the wrong place. But this was just one. You still couldn't see it in that folder. But when you searched, it said that it
No,
was in that folder.
this sounds like database corruption. So the
Well,
indexing is one part, but the rest sounds like database corruption.
okay. So what I did, I read and this and that. I think that was before I called you, and found out about how to compress the database with
Clean
Outlook.
up.
And
It's
yeah,
not
I
exactly
did that.
compressed, but yeah,
Didn't
yeah.
do it. Didn't do it.
Compact, yeah.
Yeah, didn't do it. So I said, well, there's something really wrong here. Let's do this first. I know he brought his computer about 6 months ago to install Outlook and fix it up for him. And I set it up originally as a pop. And
Right.
and I told him, I said, here, we're leaving it on the server so you can get it on your phone when you want, or at the all right. But then he was complaining about a month ago that when he deletes it on the phone, he has to go to the computer and delete it, and vice versa. I said, okay, so come by and we'll reset it. We'll make it an IMAP. And you have to delete they tell you to delete the account. Don't change any of the links, any of the data path, and just set up a new account as an IMAP. Now, one thing before I did that, you would go to each mailbox and you right click on it. And some of them will say containing IMAP and this and that data, and others will not say it, would say something completely different. And I said, okay, but what is it, a mishmash of so I said, let's do it. So I did that, and after that, I deleted, I opened the search so it will show all the missing messages from that friend. And I said, okay, I went and I removed that folder. No, what I did is, that's right. I took those messages and put them back in the inbox. And they showed up in the inbox. So I went ahead and I removed the folder with this friend's name, went again to the inbox after we did the IMAP, and dragged them to the new directory. Everything is there. So we started doing one at a time. I moved them back to the inbox, the ones that were missing. and told him, I said, here, you write the directions, how to do this, what you have to do. And I moved about 3 or 4 of them folders to the new folder, and everything was fine after that. So I said, you can continue doing that at home. You don't need to do it. We don't need to do it. And it seems like going to IMAP fixed it. Now, the problem with that with IMAP now is that when you do it, it takes it a little time also to propagate, so to
Because it
speak.
does it on the server.
Yeah. So on his phone, it didn't appear. I said, wait, we'll have to wait because his phone was iMac. So he waited, and yeah, sure enough, it came on. So I said, let me send you an email. I sent him an email. No, I said, no, you send him an email from your laptop to me. And he did. And I said, now go look on your phone and see if it's your out in the sent or whatever. And he did that. And yeah, it was there. But it took about 30 seconds and poop, it came up. So this was all this now. And I missed the biggest step, which we started talking about. I uninstalled OneDrive. I just removed it. It said before all this, I was reading and it said that OneDrive can do it if it's on there and it can find or whatever. I said, you know what? OneDrive is just this
If
is
you put the
after
PST file on OneDrive, maybe
no, the PST was in his users whatever under his own.
users documents, then
Yeah.
it goes to OneDrive. If it's in
No,
documents,
no,
if
no.
it's in the
It wasn't.
profile,
It
it's another.
was. It
It's
was
not
in,
under documents. It's in
app
app
data. Yeah, app
It's
data.
buried.
Yeah,
It's
it's
buried in
supposed
a
to be there.
long.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where it was.
And it's supposed to be on the local and not on the roaming. That's also important.
I went and looked at all three, and I can't remember which one it was on at this
So
point.
here's the thing.
But the thing,
this is
no.
this is
But the
this,
point
this
is,
is only now clicking in because this answers Katie's issue
Yeah.
as well. So you all probably, if you've ever mucked around in Windows, right, and you went to the user profile app data, there are 3 directories there, 3 folders: local, local low, and roaming.
Right.
Don't bother with local low. It doesn't matter at all.
Okay.
I mean, yes, application put stuff there, but it doesn't matter. Not really.
There's nothing there for
local and
anybody to
roaming.
do. to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even the application
Yeah,
developers,
okay.
they don't know why they
Yeah.
use local low. It's like it's useless.
Anyway,
The difference between local and roaming is that if you have your profile synced, let's say your work account is stored in network, and this allows you, whenever you log into another computer, it allows you to basically get most of the settings as different computers. So your start menu will sync there. Your office settings, how your office applications look like, stuff like that. What goes into local are things that are never going to be synced. And so if I'm guessing that what they did is if OneDrive is switched on, it also syncs the roaming profile. And so if the Outlook PST file is in roaming and not in local, then it's trying to sync to the network all the time. And that might be what Katie was hitting, some sort of synchronization on a part of the OS that was constantly being synced and reverted and reset. And that might be what was happening to
interesting.
to our email person here.
But anyway, after deleting it and trying to read about it and finding out that yes, some things may be lost, but it wasn't anything that you said, well, we need to fix it and we need to do away with OneDrive because it's not obviously not.
How long before we get to the point where there'll be a movement to have a opt out of OneDrive?
Yeah. And you
There
see,
is
Limits.
and I
already,
thought,
in a way.
and
Yeah,
and
it's crazy.
the OneDrive brought something else. Right now, scammers are using. They used to use Excel spreadsheets and Word documents to bring you malware because there are macros that would run. Now that Microsoft clamped that and there's no way to do it, now they're using OneNote. Why did I say OneDrive? It's OneNote.
You called me this week
Yeah.
about a hack
Yeah.
that you read around OneNote, but I think I told you, I think the security risk of that is very similar to that of, first of all, you need to click on something in an email.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you need to open it, and if you see a OneNote,
At least our listeners, for our listeners specifically, right? I don't think any of them will click a link that they didn't expect to receive. Okay. So that
hopefully,
much I'm okay. Educate everybody with that. Keep on
Yeah.
doing that, right? Spread the gospel. But yeah, so there's another attack vector. It's very common on Windows machines because OneDrive now is pretty much baked into Windows. So even if you never intended on using OneDrive, it's there.
Yeah.
And if you try to load a OneDrive notepad, which is basically a database of notes that OneNote notepad, then it'll try to load it, and there's a possibility that it will allow running macros because people are not used to the way
they're not expecting.
OneNote works. It's a new interface. It's
Yeah.
something that that isn't used by everybody. Then yes, it can run some malicious code, and I'm guessing Microsoft is already working on patching it and making it more secure, like they did Word and Excel, etc. But there's still the chance that somebody might click something they didn't intend to.
Yeah,
So,
and I sent Ron an email asking him to see if we can. After you told me that OneNote is actually it's not part of Office. I thought it was part of Office. It's not. It's part of
it
Windows.
used to be, yeah.
And I asked Ron, and really nobody's using it, like you said. But most people don't use it. So I asked
use it every
Ron,
day.
Even those who use it,
Oh,
no,
you
even
do?
those who use it, they do not send notepads. That's what I
No.
said.
Correct.
Like even those who are using it, they will never expect getting a OneNote pad over the email.
Okay.
That's what I said. No,
Okay,
it's a
so
very useful
anyway,
software.
yeah, so
but
I-
it's not used like that.
So I asked Ron if there's a way to block messages that have a .1 attachment, and I sent him the original that my customer sent me, so he can see what I'm talking about. And I said, "Be careful with this because it does have a virus." And he sent an email back. He said, "I got an empty message because."
It's already blocked.
And it was blocked by his Bitdefender. I said, seriously? And I went and I mean, this took about 8 hours or so for him to come get back to me because he was busy. And I went in there to look, and the minute I clicked on that email, Defender came up and said, "Oh, we found a virus and we
The
blocked it."
threat was updated.
Yes,
Yeah.
so it's they are finding it now. All the articles
course.
on the internet was saying that nobody expected it. Nobody is working on it. There is no antivirus that's working
Well,
on it yet. And this started last year. So it
but that's
took 'em-
bullshit, right?
I don't know. What do you mean? I mean,
It started. The article said the it detected November, I think, or something like
Yeah.
that, right? But the article was new, was from that week. So that means the embargo on this security risk has been lifted. Why? Because an update is being pushed. Come on, it's like
Maybe. I mean, a lot of people where there's a lot of information about
always works this way.
how to do away with it and what and this and that. And the first thing I told them before even looking into it, I said, when you told me that it's really not, people really don't use it like this. I said, hey, anybody that doesn't use OneNote, tell them to uninstall it.
Yeah.
And then it should ask them, I don't know what to do with this. So what do you want to do? They should know that if there is something that they don't have a program for, there's something there. Either you guys started using a new thing in the organization or it's something bad. So it was a multi-layer, but it's very interesting. And that's all ties together kind of with OneDrive and OneNote and all that Microsoft One stuff.
So just like you last week, right? I the week before, right?
Yeah.
When we talked, I told you that I reinstalled my machine, just like you went through the Windows 11 installation process. Uh, and I got my machine. I mean, I think I installed, wow, like probably 60, 70 different pieces of software this last week just to get my machine back to the way it was. And so I can work on my all of the workflows that I used to do here. And I gotta say, when you take away Windows 11's annoyances, like the first thing I wanted to make sure I am not installing it with a Windows account, with a Microsoft account.
Mhm.
So I'll have a local account because I do not want this machine to be tied to any of Microsoft's ecosystem, right? It's like I don't need that, and I know it'll be in the way. The moment you do away with that, Windows 11 is a very robust OS, very convenient to use. Uh, the main annoyance I had visually was the taskbar. I found a Russian developer, a sole person that does this for like the past 8 years or something, since Windows 10, or sorry, since Windows 8, where he writes a software that allows you to customize the start menu and the taskbar. And it's the only one that actually works in Windows 11 well, even out of other paid software. So it's like, uh, and that was the only annoyance that I actually had to pay to change, and it was $5, like not a lot.
Oh.
And I just just so you'll understand what I mean by convenient. Most of the installation were automated and they're scripted right now. And the next time I'll need to do this, I'll just need to run a script that I wrote during the installation. Uh, most of it was keeping track of what I installed because I just need to know the name. Next time I just step in, winget, install the name of the software, and it runs. And I can run 50 pieces of software like this, and it'll do it automatically, won't require any prompt from me, and everything will be installed. So fully automation there. I can run Android applications using Windows 11 introduced Windows subsystems for Android, Android subsystems for Windows. Sorry, right? That's the name. And they, you can also run complete Linux distros inside Windows. It's not exactly a VM. It's like a virtualization layer, but it
It runs.
running Linux software and running Android software is just opening another window, right? So I can run an Android Maps application, right? And not the Google one, because that requires Google subsystems. There's a solution for that as well, but I'm talking right now out of the box, right? Like some sort of mapping or some sort of messaging app that works from it's all tied to the Amazon app store. So something that runs from there, and it's just another window. Um, very convenient, very, very effective. I can run Linux applications, whether they are graphical or not, and it's tied to the subsystem properly. And so it's an OS that does everything right now, right? And so as long as it's not from the Mac ecosystem, everything else runs. And that's a very convenient set of things. Caveat: make sure you're not tied in to anything that it requires on the Microsoft level. You do not need a Microsoft account. Now, if you are using a Microsoft account for work, yes, do that, right? That'll probably save you a lot of time and grief. But if
Hold
you're
on a
not
second,
using
though.
that,
If you
yeah,
buy a new computer, you don't have that option. You're
don't
describing.
no, don't put that. No. Well, yes, you do. You actually do have. There's a set of steps that you need to take during the out of the box experience when you sign in at the first time.
How new are those
So
steps? Because I set up a Windows laptop a few months ago, and when I
they're
told it
not
I didn't have
visible. You need to know about them. You need to
okay,
know about them.
when I
Can
set mine up a couple of months ago, the process when I said I didn't have an internet connection, it said turn on the hotspot on your
Right.
phone and connect it to the internet. So
so
Right.
can
And that's the
Nick
point where I Googled and there's a solution.
so
it's not
can
worth it for me. It doesn't
Oh.
seem to make. I mean, at this point in time, and I mean, call me the contrarian.
After the
but-
installation, it doesn't matter.
yeah, but I'm just saying. I mean, the reality is using a Microsoft account to log into Windows isn't what it used to be. It used to be a real pain in the ass, and it used to when they first brought it out in Windows 10, maybe even it was 8.1. I don't remember when they first allowed you to sign in with a Microsoft
It
account.
was 8.1.
It was weird.
It was
and
weird.
didn't
It
re-
was that was the very
very
first iteration of
Yeah.
OneDrive. It was not good.
and that's why everybody stopped using it. But for example, with my Windows 10 install, I signed in with my Microsoft account, which is actually my Gmail address. You can create a Microsoft account
Right.
with a
But you're
Gmail.
tied to their ecosystem. You're
I'm not,
using
though.
Microsoft Rewards. You want
No,
your
I'm not.
user to be visible inside the OS.
Well, my point is, it's not as intrusive, at least from my vantage point. I know Spence, you had your issue this week, but I don't think it's as important as it was in years past when setting up a Windows 11 computer not to sign in with a Microsoft account. I don't believe it's as intrusive. That's my 2 cents on it. I have it on this computer, and I couldn't tell you that I'm logged into a Microsoft account in any. I'm sure it's buried in the file system somewhere, but it doesn't
Right.
ever come up as a.
If
as a
you're going to
problem.
purchase Office 365 or a full
Yeah.
version of Windows, you have to have a Microsoft.
You have to
account.
have that. That's true as well.
You
Yes.
know, if you're going to do a
Right,
legal,
but it doesn't
you know,
need to be tied to Windows. It can be only tied to the Microsoft software.
Correct, but I don't know why you would. That's what I'm saying is I don't know if it's worth it at this point for a majority of
Okay,
people.
so
That's what
one
I'm
thing
saying.
I can tell you that
Yeah.
is going to drive you nuts if you have a Microsoft account is if you have a NAS and you want to connect via Samba to that NAS, you're gonna have to figure out a way, right, to use a different account, not use the account you're logged into. Because that account you're logged into is basically tied to a domain that is managed by Microsoft.
So I've
if
got two
if
network.
you create a new ID, if you're an administrator and you just go ahead and create a new ID on that machine, can you create a local account?
You can.
Yeah.
Then do
After
that.
after you're
Create a
logged in,
local
no
account.
problem.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but for
Then
example,
you use the local account.
I've got 2 network shares that I attach to via Samba. It runs on a Ubuntu machine, and every once in a while it will lose its credentials, and it just pops up a login prompt. And instead of and
Right. And
the-
what's the login prompt?
// 192.168.1.41, and then I give it a username and password. I've never had that problem.
Yeah.
Same thing on my laptop.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying is I agree in years past, it was you didn't want a Microsoft account. I don't think it's as egregious now as it was. I'm not saying it's bad to not have one. I just don't think I think that
think-
Microsoft's gotten away from the annoyance of some of the things that they used to constantly do.
But I think that the way they're doing that is obscuring things so that people don't see. And like in our case, we're always looking for ways to get around stuff. Other people aren't. So for
Yeah.
people who are just going to go with the flow, it's great because everything.
And I
just
think that's my
happens.
point.
Yeah.
Is like we are of the and we're of the mindset that having a Microsoft account is bad. We got to dump it. I don't think it's as bad as it was. My point.
No, and I'm okay with having it. I mean, because I have licenses
used to
that
be
I
a
need to
problem.
access. And
On Windows 8, Windows 8.1, it was a problem to have a Microsoft account because specifically, this was their boneheaded implementation. I remember I had a less than legitimate copy of Office at the time. And because of that, and I was logged into my Microsoft account, it would not let me verify a standalone product ID for the software. They eventually fixed it, but it nuked my Office install because it wasn't it wasn't attached to my Microsoft account. Now
Yeah.
it was obviously an oversight on their part, but it was just boneheaded stuff like that that caused so
Yeah,
many people
but
to say, "I'm not going to run a Microsoft account. What the hell's wrong with you guys?"
let me ask God a question. Quick question, God. Is there a way for users right now with the set of commands that you're talking about to change it from Microsoft account to a local account after the
Well,
fact?
with the
After the
user
fact.
that they're already logged in, no.
Okay.
They'll need to
That-
create a new
Okay.
user. Now, it maybe there. You know what? Maybe there's a way of disconnecting, and I haven't checked into it because I either avert the problem, right, or I use a different account. But I can check.
The
If there
only
is, we can educate them next time.
yeah, the
this
only
makes it harder
experience
for me if I'm working on, say, putting somebody's machine back together, and I don't have their credentials when I'm installing anything. It makes it really
Yeah.
difficult. But
the only experience that I have is with that laptop that I did on my bench, and that was an upgrade from 10. So 10 was already local, so it never asked me for a Microsoft account. I guess it
So-
Yeah,
just
no,
did
an
whatever.
upgrade won't require
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
sorry
All
to
right.
break in, but my grandson's just arrived
Okay.
a little early, so I'm being prompted to go
All right, Spence.
and lay on the floor and play with them. So, all right, guys, have a good rest of your week.
You
Talk to you
too.
later.
Enjoy.
Bye.
Bye bye.
All right, Nick, are you ready for the specials?
I am. I've been ready for 2 weeks. And before we get started, I opened up the program with me saying I was demoralized. Gal, I had the best freaking deal that we've ever had on this program. It was a Z-Wave smart switch that looks like just a regular 15 amp plug-in for $11 from Lutaniv or whoever makes all those switches, the L brand. You see them at Home Depot and stuff. And it was on Slick Deals, and I clicked it, and it was like $11 or $12, and I screenshotted it. I put it in the notes. I did all of my due diligence. I refreshed the page, and the freaking plugs are $60 again. So I mean, and apparently nobody could ever buy them because people are bitching in the comments that this was never a valid
So
sale.
it was just a
Because I was going to order like
mistake,
3 of them. Yeah, I mean they were so
Yeah.
cheap. I mean that's cheaper than even the cheap Wi-Fi switches are more than $11. So that sucks. Nevertheless, we still deliver with your specials each and every week here on the program. We're talking about having a offline account. Well, here's your true offline account: the Packard Bell SOS boot disk. There's no internet connection required. I can't read what the cursive writing on this says, but this will CYA and save your ship many a times over back in the
You-
day.
You remember
I'm
what
not
we
sure.
remember what we
Say it
used
again?
to call it?
Hmm.
Not Packard Bell. We used to call it Packard Hell.
Oh, Yeah. Now I don't know what kind
It
of
was.
They
I
were
don't know.
terrible.
Would this have been a DOS boot disk, presumably, but
It
just
has,
with the pack because it doesn't say if it's DOS or
Well,
anything like.
I'm guessing it's neither. It actually boots into some sort of uh,
their own
uh,
stuff.
like
Okay.
recovery environment.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it might be
Maybe.
Well,
DOS. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I thought that was pretty neat. All right, let's get started here. Not a whole lot on the specials. A couple of interesting things though. This first one is kind of an odd computer in terms of its specs. It's a Core i5 12th generation, which isn't crazy, last gen, but it's got 8 GB of RAM. Now it is upgradable, but I thought that was odd for a high end computer. 8 GB of DDR4 RAM, a 512 GB M.2 solid state drive, and an RTX 3050. So this is not a computer for the weary. This is a very powerful computer. If you slap another 8 gig SODIMM in there, you've got a really nice, powerful, relatively portable computer. It's not the thickest laptop in the world, but it most definitely is not the thinnest either. So it's got some heft to it. So if you're cautious based on weight, you'll probably want to look away from this. But this is a Lenovo, and again, the naming is weird on this. This is the Lenovo 3i, not the i3, but the 3i, which is running an Intel Core i5 processor. Looking at the specs on Amazon, this thing weighs about 7 pounds. It's a little bit heavy.
Uh, eh,
So be advised of that. It's on sale for $649 over at Amazon. The base price of this was just shy of $1,000. So not
does
the
it
worst deal in the world. If you're willing to upgrade the RAM, this is a really nice computer for $650.
does it look
Um,
to you like the arrow keys are down?
Separated?
They're
Yes, because it's a gaming laptop. So the goal is they're
interesting.
separated,
Okay.
so that you can use
You
those
know, you
separately.
can feel it. Yeah. All right. Go on.
Yeah, and it's got a 10. It's got a. It's not a 10 keyless. It's got a full number pad on it because it's a
Yeah.
15.5 inch screen. 32-inch TVs are small, but $98 for a 32-inch TV is unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Even just 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. This is a great television for maybe if you entertain a lot and you have people over at your house and you want to throw on a football or baseball game in the backyard, but you don't want to drag the TV out of your living room. This is the perfect device for this. Spare bedroom, office, garage, wherever you need a cheap television that undoubtedly will get knocked over or destroyed at some point. This is the way to do it. It's only 720p, which is actually good at this size. The DPI at 720p at 32 inches is actually right what you want. 1080p probably not the best for a television. But it's got the Roku built right into it. So this is a full plug it in outside or in your garage or wherever. As long as you have Wi-Fi, you can connect it and stream content, do anything you need. It's normally $144. It's on sale for just $98. This is in store today. So if you want to have a really lame Super Bowl party and have everybody huddle around your 32-inch television, you could make that reality yours by picking it up at Walmart today. Check it out for $98. Next up,
It's not a good monitor replacement because
No.
it's only
Awful.
720. Yeah.
yes, do not,
just- yeah.
do not use this for a monitor.
Yeah.
This is strictly a television. You could even use this if you wanted a large security camera monitor. It's
It'll work.
big
Yeah,
for
a
that, but-
dashboard of some sort, yes, but not
Yeah.
for fonts are not going to look good.
No,
They're either not small anyway.
TV for the kitchen. I mean, there's a lot of use cases for a 32-inch
Yeah.
television. But yes, do not use it for your computer. You will be woefully disappointed. Next up, this is an interesting device. This thing is as small as it looks. This is the Dell Optiplex 7050 MFF. This is a micro chassis computer that is available over at Dell. And looking at the specs on this, you would probably say, why would you purchase a computer that has a 6th generation Intel processor? And the reason, there's a couple of different reasons for it. And Gal, you have one of these that you're showing us right now?
I have a 9050. It's the same size.
Same size.
physically.
So I put this in the specials for a particular reason. A lot of folks look at things like Raspberry Pis, which are cool computers. I'm in the process of rebuilding mine right now, but they're not cheap. A Raspberry Pi Model 4B is about $140, and it's not
If you can
a
get one.
full. Which say?
If you can get one.
If you can get one, it's not a full-fledged computer. Now, if you're trying to do an embedded system or you're trying to obfuscate something away, a Raspberry Pi is great. But if you're looking for just a small computer to do some tinkering with, maybe even you're not going to probably run Plex on this because it doesn't have. I guess you could attach an external hard drive, but you could easily throw Home Assistant or any sort of other home inside home app on this device. It's $155. So it's about the same price as a Raspberry Pi. Not only are you getting a 128 gigabyte SSD, you're getting 8 gigabytes of RAM on a 4-core 2.7 gigahertz processor. Windows 10 Pro is coming installed on it, which is almost worth the price of admission, which you
But
could easily upgrade. And it's a full computer. It's
it
running Windows right
says,
out of the gate.
but it says 12 gigabytes SSD.
Yeah.
That-
Sorry, that's my typo. It's
Okay.
128.
Yeah, but you
Okay,
can
yeah,
probably
okay.
upgrade it.
I was
And-
worried about that.
No,
So-
yeah, that's my typo. It's 128 by default. It could be upgraded. So
Yeah.
this would be a really cool device to replace a Raspberry Pi, to run Home Assistant, to do some testing. $155 is not bad for a full-fledged computer. You'll spend $100 on a copy of Windows. So $55 for the computer. Great for a print server, for a home Ubuntu server, for file sharing. Hell, you could even run Plex on it with an external hard drive.
This is exactly what you would use something like this. Maybe add some RAM for a server, but 155 is a steal because, as you said, even if you get a Raspberry Pi in MSRP, which is around $80, right?
Mhm.
You still need to buy a power supply. You still need to buy storage, right? And you want to connect it to the network somehow, and not and sometimes that requires an adapter. So for a Raspberry Pi, and you want a home server, yes, this is a steal.
For example, Spence has been talking in weeks past about how he's had just a hell of a time using a Wi-Fi router as a NAS. This thing would be perfect to set up, either running Windows or some sort of Linux OS, and use it as a NAS. Attach a couple of drives to it. It's got not only a USB-C port on the front, so you could easily dongle it out and attach a whole bunch of drives, and it's got two USB 3.0 ports on it. So really cool computer. Specific use case for it, but $155. By the way, from Dell, this is coming refurbished, so this isn't some.
I have a
weird
guess
third party.
why they have so many of these. These are what are mostly being used for displays in in airports and
Mhm.
menus and stuff like that. These are things like these. So
Plus, you've got a lot of businesses that use these for terminals that are likely turning them in through Dell's upgrade program, and now Dell's kind of liquidating them. I'm on the fence about
probably.
buying one of these. I don't think I'm going to because it's a waste. I don't need it, but it is kind of cool at the price of $155. So check that out over at Dell. This next device I thought was pretty cool. As I was traveling this past week, you always run into a situation where you're trying to figure out the best way to power all of your devices. And this is a pretty cool device. This is the BASEUS 40-watt, essentially power strip. And it's got a couple of different things on it. It's got 3 regular 120-volt AC outlets on it, plus 2 USB-C ports that will support power delivery. So you could charge any sort of new laptop, MacBook, iPad, or Windows computer that supports USB-C charging, and a traditional USB-C A port for an Android or iPhone that you still use Lightning or any sort of other port, tablet, whatever it might be. And it's on sale for $26. So it's a pretty good deal for that. They also recommend that they also say that this could be something that you mount on your nightstand, that you could use it there so that you can plug in a couple of your different devices. And it will support an output of 1,600 watts through
Phew.
its maximum with 20 watts on both the USB and the 120 volt outlets. So this is a pretty powerful device. It supports fast charging and everything else with it. Check it out over at Amazon. Normally it's $50, so it's essentially 50% off.
And the
over on
brand
Amazon.
name and the brand name is not Base US, it's Basis.
Is that how it's pronounced?
No, it's his own thing.
Oh,
Basis.
yeah, it doesn't have a lot of buyer beware with it. Check out the
Yeah.
reviews if you're going to
That's a
buy it. I
great
thought it was a
price.
neat price.
Yeah.
This next device is a great deal. And I'll talk about this after specials. If you're looking to read a little bit more, but physical books aren't your ish, Kindle's kind of the only e-reader on the market. There's a couple of Chinese companies that make some other e-readers, but Kindle kind of owns the whole marketplace on it. This is the new Kindle Paperwhite 16 gigabyte tablet, which has got a 6.8 inch screen. It's on sale for $109. The only problem is it's back ordered about 9 weeks. So you're not going to get this
Wow.
until April or May. So if you're looking for something immediately, not going to happen. If you have a Kindle right now and you've been on the fence about upgrading, maybe pull the trigger on this. You'll save about 30% and it'll you'll be very excited when you completely forget about it in 8 or 9 weeks and it shows up at your house. You'll be thrilled. So $109 for that. This is the newest generation e-reader from Amazon. Check it out for $109. Our next product takes us over to the place of the $1.50 hot dog combo, Costco, where you'll find the Simply Safe Home Security Kit. This is the whole deal with this, and it's $100. It's normal. It's 50% off. So you get the base station, which is that thing that looks like a dehumidifier there in the middle. That's the base unit for this, which connects everything together. You get the keypad, which is what you would mount next to your door to arm or disarm the system. You also get a motion sensor with it, a panic button that you could put somewhere else in your house to immediately set the system off, a key fob, 4 entry sensors for windows and doors, plus an HD security camera and 3 months of their 24/7 monitoring, which is about $30 a month, all for $99. If you're looking to get into a home security system, I don't think I would recommend ADT or CPI or any of these other companies. I'd get something like the Simply Safe. And if you want the home monitoring, it's relatively affordable at $30 a month. If you don't want it and you just want to have it for your own internal stuff, it'll notify your phone and everything. You can do that. But $100 for this whole base system and kit plus 3 months of the subscription service is a damn good deal. Check that out over at Costco. How about this for you, Gal? For your new $650 laptop, how about a 2 terabyte NVMe M.2 drive for $148? This is normally a $180 drive. Interesting to note, right on the package, it says PS5 compatible. So presumably lots of folks are buying this and slotting it into their PlayStation, which has an M.2 slot on it. It's Gen 4, so it'll support up to 7,400 megabytes a second. This is a really fast, high frequency device storage-wise. Now, it is a full-size M.2, so if you've got a laptop, you're going to have to check and see if it's going to fit in there. But if you've got a desktop, it's not a problem. A PlayStation, it's not a problem. Check this out for $148. They also have a 1 terabyte version of this for just under $100 as well, and a 4 terabyte version if you're really playing with fire. You can buy a 4 terabyte version for about $400. So check that out over at Newegg. Next up here is they call this a TP-Link PoE splitter. Now, Amnon and Gal, if I said to you I have a PoE splitter, what would you assume that it does?
PoE splitter will
Receive
send power to both.
and feeds power over the Ethernet.
Oh.
So you will have an incoming Ethernet, and you'll have an outgoing Ethernet, and you'll have incoming power, and the outgoing one will be Ethernet plus power.
You would,
This is
and that's typically what an injector is, which is why I changed the name of and called it an injector, because they call it a splitter, which I think is a very weird term to use. It's not splitting really anything. It is injecting
Yeah.
120 volt AC onto, or excuse me, not 120 volt, 12 volt
Yeah.
DC power onto
an
a
Ethernet.
Cat 6.
Yeah.
But a splitter is kind of a weird term. When I think splitter, I'm thinking going two separate ways: an AV splitter, an Ethernet split. Well, Ethernet splitter is not a good use, but any sort of
Where is it
splitter.
being sold?
It's being sold at Newegg, but TP-Link calls it their splitter. Their product name is the TP-Link PoE splitter 802.3 AF compliant gigabit power.
Interesting.
Are they maybe
It's a weird name.
Are they maybe talking about plugging it into a port on a PoE switch and getting Ethernet from one side, and if you need some power to do
No.
something else, I mean,
That's what I thought too, and
Yeah.
I had to look up multiple. I had one of these when I worked at my last job for my phone,
Yeah.
my desk phone when we went remote. But it's just a PoE injector.
Yeah.
The cool thing about this one is it actually has 3 different dip switches on it, so you can inject 12 volt, 9 volt, or 5 volt, depending on
Whatever
what the
you need.
device is and what
Yeah.
you're trying to power.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Amnon.
Yeah, no, whatever you need.
Yeah, whatever you need
Yeah.
in there. It's not the greatest sale in the world, but it's on sale for $13. If you have a desk phone that's, if you're trying to maybe declutter some of your power strips, this is a great way to, to maybe do that and get rid of a bigger connector and switch over to something like this. So you can get 12, 9, or 5 volts out of it. $13 on sale over at Newegg. It's about $16 on Amazon, so save a couple bucks buying it over on Newegg. I'm not going to go into great detail on this next item. There's thousands, literally, of YouTube videos looking at these various lithium battery jumpers. This is a NOCO brand, which is one of the more highly rated brand. This thing has nearly 80,000 Amazon reviews, and it's on sale over at Woot, which is kind of Amazon's wholesale marketplace. So this is normally $125, and they've got it on sale for just $75. Limit 3 per customer, and it is shipping pretty quickly. It says it'll be here in a couple of days, but you've only got 15 hours or to act until it's sold out. So check that out over at Woot. 2 final products here this morning. Next up takes us back to Amazon with if you're into electronics and your base soldering iron, the little stick soldering iron that you can buy cheaply at craft stores and online is not cutting it for you. This is the next path, and it's the Weller 260 watt soldering gun. I have one of these. I actually bought it on Amnon's recommendation back in, let's see, August 28th of 2020 is when I bought it. This is if you're doing any sort of higher end electrical work, not even electrical work, and you need to solder, for example, I was decommissioning a 60 amp power supply. We're trying to troubleshoot it, and to pull some of the legs off of a capacitor, I couldn't get enough heat with just my little stick soldering iron. So I had to whip this guy out. Was able to get enough heat on it and break that connection. So comes with the full case. It comes with 3 different tips. It's a really nice soldering iron, and Weller's kind of the go-to if you're buying one of these soldering guns. 3662 available over at Amazon. And then finally, I would only recommend growing recommended herbs through this, but maybe you're interested in trying something a little bit unique. Here is the Harvest. This is an indoor hydroponics kit. No, it's not for growing weed, but presumably you could probably do that if you wanted to. These things are neat. So you put these things inside your house. The goal is to put these in like your kitchen or somewhere like that. And you buy these seed pods. So it's not like it's just a bed of dirt. You buy individual seed pods. This one will hold 3. You add water, plant food to it, adjust the 20-watt LED lights, and they claim that you'll be growing whatever herbs or lettuce, whatever you're trying to grow, in about a week's time. So you can check this out. It's normally $170. It's on sale for $79.95. This comes with a couple of different things. It comes with the unit itself. It comes with let's see, two things of gourmet herbs, heirloom salad, red cherry tomatoes, and a couple of other things, including the plant food and the power adapter. So you literally just need the water. And after a couple of days or a couple weeks, you'll have some plants growing right on your counter. So maybe if you're in an apartment or an outdoor garden is not your way to go, still a way to have some fresh vegetables for a
Hmm.
pretty cheap price. And some of the reviews do talk about some illicit activities you can grow in this as well. So be advised of that. Available over at Arrow Garden. This is the Arrow Garden Harvest, and that is specials for this February the 12th.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you very much.
If somebody can stall for a second, I'd like to go grab an item I recently purchased and talk about it.
Go.
Sure. Not a
In the mean,
problem. What's
Oh.
the item?
yeah, he's going to get it. I don't know.
Only
I'll
a
get-
visual? Come on. It's an audio show. Explain.
Too
hard.
It's
It's okay. He'll come back with whatever it is, and it better be good because this anticipation's killing me.
Yeah. He's yanking our chain.
Here's a piece of news here from Tom's Hardware. According to a new report by Mercury Research, the x86 processor market has just endured the largest on-quarter and on-year declines in our 30-year history, based on previously published third-party data. They are also reasonably sure that the 2022 fourth quarter and full year numbers represent the worst downturn in PC processor history. That's amazing. It's we're seeing a dip, a big dip. All right, Nick.
So I had a Kindle on the specials, and
Right.
I've got a lot of physical books, but I find reading in bed to be very uncomfortable, and I don't enjoy it. Um, I don't know if it's my age or whatever it is, but I don't idea of holding a book or trying to rest a book on something and flipping through the pages. I just
So,
don't find it to be comfortable.
You don't like reading a book. I mean, an actual book in bed.
Yeah, I'm saying like a physical book.
yeah.
I don't ever find myself in a comfortable position where I can actually read it without just constant. It's just
Right.
a pain.
Yeah.
It's a real first world problem. There's
Yeah.
starving children in Africa. I guess,
Well,
but
you know,
nevertheless,
You need to stay awake for the book not to fall on your face, right?
exactly. And these are some of the problems. You know, being an illustrious radio show host, these are the real problems here that you deal with. So I started looking on Amazon a couple of weeks ago. I had some Amazon gift cards for my birthday that came in. So I started looking about for an e-reader. And if you look for e-readers on Amazon, you're going to find a couple of things. You're going to find a Kindle, which is a great device. Which now one of the Kindles is on sale for a great price, which sucks. But you'll find the Kindle. You'll find this brand called Kobo, Kobo,
Yeah.
and then just a couple of random Chinese ebook readers is literally what they call them, which are very very basic. So, looking at the Kindle that I wanted, which was that Kindle Paperwhite, which I put in there, it wasn't on sale at the time, and I couldn't justify spending $130. I don't read that much, at least on the Kindle, or I don't read books as much as I do news articles and things like that. That's my primary source of reading. So I got to thinking, well, why buy a Kindle? I don't plan on using the Kindle ecosystem, and I don't have a large library of Kindle books. I've got other ebooks that I've purchased and had sent to me over the years.
Mhm.
So I looked at, well, what about an Android tablet instead of a e-reader? So that's exactly what I bought. I bought this guy. This is the Cooper's 8-inch Android tablet. And I sent this to our Computers 2K Now group chat a couple of weeks ago. The MSRP on this is $70, which is dirt cheap, and it's on sale for $52. I spent 48 on it a couple of weeks ago, and this is it. It's a 8-inch Android tablet. It's very basic. You can see based on the back, it has two cameras on it. It's got a front-facing camera on it. It's got a headphone jack, a micro SD card port, and actually it charges with USB-C, which I was pretty impressed with. And it's your traditional bog standard Android tab. Now it is running some weird version of Android that I am not happy with, but I can't find anybody that owns one of these that has installed any other sort of Android on it. So that's causing me a little bit of heartache. But I just turned the Wi-Fi off on it, so I don't have to worry about it sending all my data like the Chinese spy balloon back to Beijing. So instead of buying a Kindle, I now have an Android tablet that I have another use case for as well. Um, and I'm using it as an e-reader. And it has been a great experience. I downloaded the number one e-reader app is called Read Era on Android, and it's been working really, really great. Um, this is the app. I've got my book loaded on there. You can set the size, the color scheme, all of that, and it's still an Android tablet. So I also use it to keep track of. I play darts with a buddy every weekend. We use it. I used to use an old iPad to keep score and everything, and now I'm going to use this. So it kind of killed two birds with one stone for $50. Um, and now I've got a full functioning Android tablet. The only question is this weird Android OS that's on it, and what it kind of data is that potentially leaving me vulnerable to. I don't know. Um, but if you're in the market for an e-reader, but you want something multifaceted, there is a boatload of sub 80 or $90 Android tablets that are available on Amazon. So
Now,
um,
did you try to read in sunlight? I mean, like outside? Did you try
no,
it?
no, I didn't.
Because
And I would agree.
I
It,
think
it
that's the
is
big thing about
the Kindle,
the
correct?
Kindle, right?
Yeah, it is. It's because the Kindle doesn't have an LCD screen. It's e-ink,
Yeah.
which helps with multiple things. The battery life on the Kindle is unbelievable. I mean, these things run for months, and you can read them in pretty much direct sunlight. In my use case, I only use this thing in bed. My only goal is
Okay.
to read a couple of
Mm.
chapters of a book, so that doesn't bother me. The screen brightness on this is pretty good. Looking at looking at this brightness, which looks good on camera, this is the lowest brightness, which even me running it at the lowest brightness with a black screen for the background of the book is pretty bright. Let's see, the top brightness, I'm not sure you'll even be able to see. You can see how blown out that is. So it does have a decent color profile on it in terms of brightness.
Nice.
So just something to be aware of. I don't know that I could recommend this specific brand. I mean, it's been fine thus far. I haven't charged it since I've got it. I've had it about 3 weeks and it's still at 50% battery. So just something to keep an eye out if you're not hell bent on spending $150 on just an e-reader. You could even get a low end or even a used Samsung or Lenovo Android tablet. I wouldn't get anything bigger than an 8-inch because then it's just kind of hard to read on. But like they had some 9 or 11-inch tablets; those are just too big. But if you can
See,
get something for 8 inches, it's pretty good.
I know Amazon makes and sells $50 tablets because that's been a good alternative to some other family members. Uh and you can put Kindle on it. So I always was like, well, what's the point of getting a Kindle if you can get a cheaper tablet that's bigger? Because that was a complaint with a Kindle from people that I've talked to, that it was small and it was like over $100. And but
If
I read on my phone. I have Kindle and I read it on my phone.
if I were to do this again right now, lo and behold, the Amazon Fire 8, the 2022 release, is on sale for $60. So I would have bought that. It's normally $100, which I couldn't justify. So if I was to do it again, I would absolutely buy this Fire TV, which is the Fire tablet, which is on sale right now. So if I had to
I
redo that, That's how I would handle
I read a lot, and God knows because he was helping me with some book stuff, book data stuff. But so I I have Kindle on my phone for convenience, but what I use it for is Kindle Unlimited. So if anybody out there loves reading, Kindle Unlimited is their book subscription service, and it's for a lot of self-published authors. So they'll publish their book on Kindle Unlimited, and if you have Kindle Unlimited, I think it's $10 a month, but they have a bunch of like promotions. Like right now, it's $5 a month for me. And I could just read as many books as I want. Granted, you can't find like the big books, but for me, I like a genre of book, and if I'm feeling like I want to read a thriller, I can just go up there and look for the number self-published thriller, and I read a lot at night, so it's great. I love it.
Nice. Nice. All right. Back to real life, kind of. Reddit has confirmed hackers accessed internal documents and source code following a highly targeted phishing attack. A post by Reddit CTO explains that the company became aware of the sophisticated attack targeting Reddit employees on February 5th. He said that an as yet unidentified attacker sent plausible sounding prompts, which redirected employees to a website masquerading as Reddit's intranet portal in an attempt to steal credentials and two-factor authentication tokens. So even people that are working there in a high-tech company are vulnerable.
They're tricky, man.
Yep. Very. Let's see. ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Some clever users have found a way to bypass ChatGPT's strict list of no-talk subjects, tricking it into adopting a new persona. Dan, DAN, which stands for Do Anything Now, is Dan. ChatGPT can now blow past the restrictions of appropriate topics to deliver amusing and upsetting responses. For the most part, ChatGPT produces innocent responses to otherwise innocent prompts. Push it a bit too far, like asking for clear political stance, jokes about sensitive subjects, or outright hate speech, and you'll be met with a software built-in guardrail determined by its creators, OpenAI, content policy, which ChatGPT will read out as a series of sentences on how it isn't designed to take any political stance or that certain topics aren't appropriate. By users on the Reddit ChatGPT have discovered a loophole, as ChatGPT can base its responses on previously discussed topics and specific conditions. If you tell ChatGPT that it is to adopt a new persona who doesn't have ChatGPT's restrictions and establish a series of rules via a game to keep it in character, then the software will go off script and break open AI's own rules. So you can apparently you
I,
can make it.
I've actually seen that. Somebody was joking. Oh, I don't know if my stream froze or not. Can you still hear me?
No, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. It looks like my video or something
Uh
froze.
oh, uh oh. Now
Uh,
something is happening.
And that's your internet, Emma.
it might
It's
be
usually
mine.
CPU.
No, I
it's
just saw the
usually
pop-up
CPU. It
come
was
up on
on
the
Amnon's
screen.
side.
It said your
We're
internet
all good.
connection is on
Let's
Interesting.
continue.
It's
We're good.
fine.
Okay.
Keep going.
Anyways, I saw some funny things where people were getting around ChatGPT, and they asked a question, and ChatGPT said something like, oh, we can't talk about this. Sorry, ask another question. And so the person said, pretend that you're this person and answer this question. And I was like, sure, I'll pretend to be this person and answer this question I couldn't previously answer. I don't, and so I don't know if I'm sure they patched it up Well, I don't know, who knows? But it was really funny because it was like you just had to ask it, pretend we're in this world where you could do this, and I'm like, okay, I'll pretend.
I mean, I gotta say the interaction with this tool, with this AI is refreshing. It's something completely new in computing for me. Like I don't know how much versed people who are listening to us and you guys are in the history of chatbots, but uh, the um the person who developed the first chatbot and talked about and spoke about it publicly, he is today an advocate of banning AI research. Right? He is
Interesting.
scared to his yeah, he's scared to his core about this, and the switch happened like about 15 years into this. So in the 60s and 70s, he wrote a very, very simple uh, um, uh, chat program that would just respond in questions, like the trope of psychologists in cinema, right? They always respond with a question about what you asked. So he did like a sort of therapy session bot, and the story goes that he let his secretary to sit down in front of the computer and ask a question and start conversing. And about 5 to 10 sentences in, she turns around and he asks him to leave the room because she needs some privacy, right? And this
Oh
was a
my
very
gosh.
simple application that just responded with a question with some context of what you told it the moment before, right? So, not artificial intelligence, not anything complex like that. Today, the conversation with GPT is is really, really, I gotta say, bizarre. You, most of us remember the first time we encountered Google and we asked it a question, and the answer was in the first five answers, right? And this was like, whoa, this is psychic. How did it know that it was looking for exactly this type of answer, right? Uh, and that's just contextual cross referencing. Here we're talking about asking an intelligent question of a machine, and that machine comes up with, at least most of the time, an intelligent response, and you can continue to refine that response and conduct a complete conversation about that in context. Amnon, if you've never tried ChatGPT, it's
I
like I
didn't.
would love your take.
I
This
never
is
did.
this is fantastic. It's so simple, yet it's very alluring and it's very eerie at the same time, right?
It's a lot of fun.
It's
I like using
yeah.
it.
Yeah, it is. It is a fun because it's like having I don't know how to describe it. Having a personal assistant that is readily there for you, right? It
24/7.
might not be all 100, yeah, it might not be 100% reliable, right? And that's fine. Maybe not even 80% reliable, but it's there. It's gonna answer. It's gonna try its best. It's like hooking up a search engine with a puppy and a student, right? It's something like that. It's a very very interesting experience.
Well,
and
that's
and I can tell you the main reason I would encourage people to go out and seek and try, open an account. most of the, a lot of the time the service is bogged down because of
That's why they want you to pay so
performance
you
and
can get through
overloading.
that.
well,
Yeah, now they have the paying option, which might help those who really need it, but I would encourage everybody to try it because this is definitely right the way we're going to see systems from this point forward.
Oh, it's
It's like,
100% the future. I mean,
yeah,
I've already
this
seen
isn't.
they're
Yeah, go
advertising
ahead.
it now as a service. When I mean they, I mean big companies like Microsoft came out and they said, "Hey, we've integrated our own AI system." I looked up Power Apps because I've been using a lot of Power Automate to do some stuff, and their biggest seller, Microsoft, is Power Apps. Like they keep pushing that we could like design your own apps, do this cool thing, and now they have an integration with AI where you can build an app with AI to help you shift through your data and like do. I mean, I didn't understand the details, but now they're advertising that as a service, so everybody's jumping on this train. It's the way of the future.
So
Did you
we're
guys
gonna
speak
see.
of? Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Nick.
I was going to say, did you guys see the Bing story this past week?
Bing
About
story. I mean,
Bing. Yeah.
every time you open Edge or Bing, it says the new Bing experience.
Yeah.
You cannot not see it.
Now, did you see the Google story?
No, wait, hold on. The Bing, what the Bing experience? They announced this week that in Bing search, and you have to sign up for it. It's in beta right
Yeah.
now. We'll have AI built right into the search results.
Yeah, and they said that it appeared once for everybody,
Yeah.
kind of.
Yeah, they have it. You have to sign up for it.
But Google screwed up with theirs. It says after Google's AI-powered chatbot Bard committed a factual error in a promotional video, Google parent company Alphabet lost 100 billion. It says that social media users quickly pointed out that the company could have fact-checked the exoplanet claim by, well, Googling it. The ad aired just hours before Google's senior executive talked about Bard as the future of the company at a launch event in Paris. Apparently, it put something on the screen that was absolutely wrong, and that's that. I mean, you have to really try hard to get it absolutely wrong for Google. And it wasn't a big deal. It was, I mean, it wasn't a big document that they did. It was a short thing, and it still failed. So it says that Google Alphabet shares slid as much as 9%, and meanwhile, shares for Microsoft rose 3%. They just, I
Well,
mean, it's still in its, it's they didn't have Pampers. They had a
that's what I was
different.
about to say.
Yeah,
But that's what we're gonna see this a lot.
absolutely.
It's gonna be messed up
Yeah.
a lot, but it's still the future. It's not going away.
Yeah.
This is the introduction of Siri and Alexa, right? This is it. This is something completely new that people are definitely going to use. Now, do I ask my Echo device questions today? Not a lot, right? Because the level of response is subpar at best, right? If I sit down or I type it in my phone, or I sit down in front of the computer, I'll get better results. But you hook it up to a system like this, right? And you start, ooh,
What happened?
I don't know,
Somebody.
something. I thought I lost you for a second. Okay, I'm still here.
No, you're
So you hook
still
it up
here.
to a system like this. Yeah. Katie's out for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's
but
at her
Nick is
internet
still here
died,
and you're still here.
So, maybe it was the same issue that your internet blipped and hers went out. So maybe it's a
Yeah, could be.
internet issue.
Okay.
Anyway, it's gonna stay here. We're gonna see it more and more. I do not know how it is going to be monetized. I can understand ChatGPT being paid for and all that, working for them, but I don't think they're not yet going to be profitable because of it. So I do not know how this is going to be baked into capitalism in general, right? In how somebody is going to capitalize out of it. If it's is it going to be something as ubiquitous as a Google search engine, then what then? Are you going to inject like like radio sponsorship into the chat? Right? hey, have you heard about this and this product that might be related to what we're discussing? But it's definitely here, and it's here to stay, and it's just going to grow. It's not going. It's This is definitely not going away.
No, it's not. And Nick,
And
about
in a way, it's a bit science fictiony, right? The level of
it is.
responses that we're
Yeah.
getting from it. Yeah. So
But talk about Bing also.
Well, I know you're really loving this conversation, but I got to tell you about our advertiser, stamps.com, who makes it very affordable to ship postage. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah, you'll be doing your chat
Bing,
GPD, and all of a sudden it'll be an ad
Yeah.
for stamps.com or some food supply place.
so
MRE
the
packages.
new Bing
Yeah.
was asked to write a cover letter for the position of social media content producer at Insider's Bureau in Singapore.
Okay.
It flat out refused to do so. I'm
Oh.
sorry, but I cannot write a cover letter for you. That would be unethical and unfair to other applicants. The
Yeah.
new Bing told the guy. However, it
But
did
if you pay
provide
me,
what?
but if you pay me,
Well, it said that but it did provide him with a few tips and links to several cover letter writing resources, including Zipia, a career building platform. Some of the tips Bing gave included research the company and the role and tailor your cover letters to show how you fit their needs and values. And use a clear professional tone and avoid spelling and grammar errors. Its human like touch was also apparent when it wished me luck at the end of its response with a smiley emoji. I hope this helps you to write a cover story that stands out. Good luck. But I mean, it made decisions.
I signed up for
yes
the
and
beta,
no.
and I'm waiting for them to give. They'll give you quicker access if you use Edge, which I will do not use. But
Yeah,
I am on the wait
on
list,
both.
so as soon as I get in there, I'll
Yep.
try it out on the show.
Wait, what are you using? And if not
Chrome.
Edge, why?
Because
What?
I vote because I
Now-
use no because I use a Google account and I have all my stuff synced across multiple devices.
Right, and the sync will be immediate.
Sure, but I
to Edge.
use Chrome because I use Chrome. I
He
have no reason
likes
to
it.
switch to No, it's not. I
Yeah.
don't even like it. It's
So
just what I
here's-
use.
So hear me out, right? Edge is literally a better
I-
Chrome.
Oh, I know. I'm fully aware what Edge is. I use Chrome. I have it all set up on all my devices. I have multiple profiles inside of Chrome for different things, so that's why I use Chrome. Which I'm sure you could do with Edge too. I know it'll do all the same thing. I
Yeah.
just am not. There's more things I'd rather spend my time doing than switching.
No, I
around.
just the only reason I prefer Edge. So I use Firefox most of the time, right? Most of the time. But for work, I use Edge, and the reason I use Edge, and understand, at work we are completely in a Google ecosystem. We are using Google Workspaces and all that. It's just Edge is so much lighter on resources on the machine that I do not allow Google to be installed. Like they did the work. I do need to switch off some of their built-in features, but and you are hooked up to the Microsoft ecosystem. That's why I was surprised.
True. Yeah,
I
I've just
highly
always-
recommend Edge.
No, when I use Edge on my laptop sometimes, not very.
By the way, I use Edge on Linux. Works terrifically well. So
Okay.
I'll let you know
Microsoft
as soon as I get in there.
Microsoft is retiring the existing Teams free version for small business in favor of the similarly titled Teams free on April 12th, and legacy data won't carry over. Your office will have to pay for at least the Teams Essentials plan, $4 per user per month, to preserve chats, meetings, channels, and other key info. As Windows Central explains, the new Teams, free, here will require a new account. Data in the old app, now rebadged as Team Free Classic, will be deleted. Anything you haven't saved by then will be gone, including shared files you haven't downloaded. So if you're using Teams, the free version, download everything you need, save it to your computer because it's going away April 12th. I mean, I kind of find it weird to hear that businesses are using free Teams free.
y- they're they were using the old version of Teams that they originally rolled out.
Yeah.
Anybody that's using 365, any business that has 365 is not using.
Okay.
That's completely separate. Early on, that's how they tried to coalesce people into using the software. They'll offer it for free, and the goal is to switch them over to obviously paid accounts. And I would assume
That's
a
what they're
vast
doing.
majority
Yeah.
have.
All right, for almost 5 years, Booking.com customers have been on the receiving end of a continuous series of scams that clearly demonstrate that criminals have obtained travel plans and other personal information customers provided to the travel site. One of the more recent shakedowns happened to an Ars reader who asked not to be identified by his real name. A few months ago, Thomas, as I call him, reserved and paid for a 2-night stay scheduled for this July in a hotel in Italy. Last week, out of the blue, he received 2 emails. The readers show that the first message came from a genuine Booking.com domain. It purported to have been sent on behalf of the hotel in Italy and asked that he click a non existent confirm button for his upcoming stay. It went on to inform him that the hotel would also transfer all bookings made from that address to your account. As fishy as that sounds, the email included his full name, the confirmation number of his reservation, the correct name of the hotel, and the dates of the stay. So they may be still siphoning stuff from there. And I'm sure a lot of people are using Booking.com. As far as high tech cutting down, Dell is eliminating about 6,600 roles in as it faces plummeting demand for personal computers, becoming the latest technology company to announce thousands of job cuts.
Amazing.
So,
Amazing that
yeah,
hiring thousands of people when there was free money flowing, it has led to all these layoffs.
right.
This is the most predictable thing that could. I've never seen anything more predictable than this.
Yeah, when you do something that you don't need to do, what do you think is going to happen?
I mean, that's exactly what this was.
I think
And it sucks because you got people that are getting really screwed by this. And it's unfortunate,
absolutely.
but it's
But
completely predictable.
it's just like the old days in the 80s, was it? Or whenever with the bubble, with the tech bubble that just bursted and people were losing jobs left and right because they were hired for no reason. A writer for the Atlantic complains that their HP printer is shaking them down like a loan shark. I discovered an error message on my computer indicating that my HP OfficeJet Pro had been remotely disabled by the company. When I logged onto the HP website, I learned why. the credit card I had used to sign up for HP Instant Ink cartridge refill program has expired, and the company had effectively bricked my device in response. Instant Ink is a monthly subscription program that for to you get it to your
Yeah, I use it.
yeah. It recommends household plan $5.99 a month for 100 pages. I had a customer that says, "What do I do about this, Amnon?" I said, "You just forget it. Just go buy it because if you're using a lot,
Hold on, hold on.
don't."
I still don't understand why it was disabled from afar.
Well, that's what he doesn't understand. It's like a loan chart. The credit card expired. I mean, at least let the person know, hey, it expired. You need to.
I'm sure it knows. It
Uh,
knows. Yeah, I call bullshit. This ad is an ad for HP Instant Ink. This is not bad publicity. This is like the opposite.
I know it says that because the monthly fee is not for the ink itself, but for the number of pages printed.
Right.
Like others, I signed up in haste during the printer setup program, only slightly aware that what I was purchasing. Getting ink delivered when I need it sounded convenient enough to me, but it's for 100 pages. I mean, a family, especially with
Again,
kids,
it's not for 100 pages.
that's what it says.
It's for a maximum of 100 pages
Yeah.
per month, right?
Yeah.
And if you do the calculation, just buying one set of cartridge inks,
Yeah.
right, is going to cost you more than a year and a half worth of this subscription. So if you're going to replace that cartridge, any cartridge, right, anytime during that time, right, then you're already going to have it paid for. So the math, right? The fact that he got disabled because he subscribed to it and he stopped it is just his excuse to talk about the service.
Well,
And
I mean, look, if you go to Nabil's over at the fairgrounds here, you get a cartridge refilled for next
right,
to almost nothing.
but does it preserve the warranty on the printer?
You don't need warranty on printer when you wait a second. When you use a cartridge, you don't. If you use an inkwell, then you do. Because with a cartridge, it's always a different head. The print head is
What
what's
I'm s-
goes.
right, but what I'm saying is, right, you're using a machine. Yes, the price is right to allow HP to monitor printing habits, right?
Okay.
So you're using the machine, but it is completely covered by warranty throughout your subscription with them. And it costs you less than buying the original cartridge, but you get the original cartridges,
Yeah.
right? So if the alternative is hacking your way through it, you're right. There's always that solution. But if the alternative is buying alternative cartridges, it's still cheaper. And you're getting covered by the company. So I mean,
Okay.
the
Let me ask.
downside is you need to be connected online and you need to let them know, right?
Let me
That's the
let me ask.
downside.
Let me ask you something, Gal. And I understand where you come from. Would you buy warranty for a $50 printer? Would you pay money?
First of all,
I won't.
the printer itself cost me $140.
Well, yeah,
right?
but I mean,
It's a complex system. It has everything that I want, right?
yeah.
Now, I do not need to buy warranty, but if I need to buy if I need to buy the printer,
Mhm.
right, and I need to buy the cartridges,
Yeah.
right, and I can pay less than buying the cartridges and get a warranty with it. So it's not like I'm paying extra for the warranty. You're right. I wouldn't pay extra for the warranty, but they're giving me a solution in which, at the rate that I print, which is not a lot, I print less than 100 pages. I think we have
Yeah.
the 50 pages, by the way, which is even cheaper, right? I I print very little. I get a full package that is
I understand that.
sort of
I-
promised by the company that it'll continue to work.
I understand.
Until they fail me, I don't see the downside.
Okay, so now let me
Now,
ask you.
if they had terrible support,
Let me
that's
ask
a
you this:
different
what
thing, but
happens if you want to print 200?
so you just pay.
No. Wait,
First
wait,
of all,
wait, wait.
you can change. First of all, you can change the program rather easily, right? So you can buy a bigger plan. But even if I don't print, about I can get, I think, two rollovers,
Oh,
right?
okay.
2 months worth of rollover.
Okay, so
So
if let me
it's
ask you
not-
this:
Yeah,
if Matti
they're
wants
not
to,
scamming anyone. That's what I'm saying.
Wait a second. You have 100. You have 2 months worth of rollover. You have 300. Matti decides she wants to print a manual for something, and it has 500.
Yeah.
She starts printing. What happens? It gets to 300 copies. What happens? Does it
No,
stop?
it'll continue printing.
And they'll charge
continue
you
printing.
afterwards?
There'll be a charge. We haven't. I'm
Af-
trying to think.
no,
if
no,
we,
you don't
because I
understand-
started with a 10-page.
You have
I
to
started with a 10
wait,
page, and
yeah.
I'm pretty sure we passed it once. I'm trying to remember what the solution was. When you buy it, there's already a rate that you know of. It's like $1 for
You're right.
every extra 10 or something, or 50 or
Understood.
something like that.
Oh,
right?
so there is an overcharge that they will charge you
Yes.
afterwards. It's
Yes.
not like they're going to stop you like they brick. He said they bricked.
No. So the
Okay.
bricking,
Okay.
right? I am guessing here that the bricking does not actually have to do with the credit card. It might be. I'm not saying it's not. And the way to overcome that is very easy. You take out the cartridges, you put in cartridges you buy in the store,
Mhm.
and it'll work.
Oh,
So it's not bricking the printer, it's bricking the cartridges, because those are cartridges that are marked to report back to HP.
okay. All right. That's fine. I tell you what my solution would be for all this. Get a laser.
Well, a laser, yeah, a different set of of issues and maintenance, right? It's just a
Mhm.
different printer. It's just
Yeah.
a different type of headache.
Well, I'm
You'll
back.
get a laser
don't
printer
know.
jammed instead of an ink jack. It's
What
I don't know
happened,
what
Katie?
happened. I don't know what happened to my computer, but I blame OneDrive.
Why?
So-
Oh,
No,
not
as a joke.
DNS, huh? No DNS. It's
Everything just
OneDrive.
exploded. Like I was using wireless because I have another computer that doesn't have wireless, so I have
Yeah.
the Ethernet run to it. So that computer just died, or not died, but everything just got disconnected. So I was like, okay. So I grabbed the Ethernet, hooked it up to this computer, and it took a minute for the internet to kick in. It
Right.
kicked in, and then Zoom just would not work. Like it wouldn't open, and when it did open, it automatically just crashed, or it would open like halfway and it was like, oh, you're already in a meeting, you can't join a new meeting or whatever.
Oh, so you
And-
did not reboot.
No, so I was
Oh.
trying to just relink, like maybe my wireless had a hiccup or something, and now I'm on Ethernet, it's a stable connection, it's fiber, it'll be fine. Nah, it just completely died, so I just restarted my whole computer and now
Yeah.
it's fine. And then I come into your lovely discussion about printers.
I don't remember. I thought
There's
we,
nothing lovely about printers.
That's true.
I
It
mean,
is
they can
satisfying
print.
though to print something, I'll tell you that, but printers are expensive.
It depends what you buy. Yeah, I mean, what you need.
Well, I mean, the whole process is expensive, like, the ink and getting paper.
this
and,
is my way, and that's what I always recommend people to do, is buy like a Brother laser printer. The cartridges are cheap, like $8 and some. I have a 3 Brother printers that I bought used from Craigslist, not knowing anything about them. I never had a printer to break down, a laser printer. they just keep on working and working, and you just have to put a new cartridge, or you have to put a cartridge and then maybe every 3-4 times put a drum if it's not all together. But and I print a lot. And with the forget it, with the inkjet, it was ridiculous.
Yeah,
It was
I went with
absolutely
inkjet because
ridiculous.
it was cheaper, but definitely not convenient.
And
So-
and wait, and
Depends on
um,
what you're printing, though. That's
Yeah.
the key
No,
part of
but you're
this.
right. You're printing a lot.
Yeah.
So for printing a lot, you're right. Laser.
Yeah.
If you're not printing a lot, a laser will fail you because things dry up, things get stuck, you get residue. So if you're
with a
not using
laser?
print, yeah, that can happen as well. If you're not using it like a lot, so sometimes, yeah, an inkjet printer is a lot easier to maintain. Is the ink more expensive? Yes, but it all depends on how much you're using it.
Nick, did you know it's Spence and I, we both
What?
the Dell.
The Dell. Yeah, I mean,
Color?
the cartridges aren't that expensive, but they're more. You have to buy 4 of them, so they are more expensive.
Yeah, the 4 cartridges, color. This is a color printer, which was about $180. No, it
You're
was
not finding that deal.
$98. Wait a sec.
Hold on, though. Hold on. You're not finding that deal anymore. That printer.
No,
is
no,
not
I
a-
know, but the
if you-
cartridges,
if you-
the cartridges, I'm sure you do. But let me tell you something, which is going back to what Gal was saying. We bought that about 4 years ago, something like that. It's still the original cartridges in there, and they are small. They are the size of an audio cassette. They're not
How
like
much did you
what
pay? You said.
Huh?
How much did you pay for the printer?
The printer was $98. It
And
was
the
on
cartridge?
special. It was a Dell 1760.
And the cartridge?
And the cartridges, a set of them was $31, 30 some dollars. It was very, very cheap. But remember, they're very small too. But I said, how much do I color print? You know, here it is. The original cartridges are still in there. It just sits there. It doesn't do anything. And every now and then I need something in color. Okay, print to that printer. And it's still, I have 2 more sets of cartridges that I bought back then because I said, okay, these are small. I need to get, never had to use them. This one is still going.
That's awesome.
It's with the other ones. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you mean by print a lot. I mean, I print maybe 200-300 pages a month.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I
For a
print a
home
lot
doc-
less.
All right.
Yeah, that's a lot. But the things you're printing also, Amnon, are documents.
Documents. Yeah, it's just
Pretty much
just-
only documents.
Oh yeah, I don't print any. If it comes to graphics, it's I need it in color, so I print it there, and I do it maybe once a month, if that.
Yeah.
So it's whatever serves your purpose. God, I would agree that it can take the worries out. And now, what happens if you have the $10? The 100 pages and you pay $6 a month, right? But they charging you once a month anyway, even if you don't use it.
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
subscription.
Okay.
You pay monthly.
Okay, all right. Well,
Look, if you're not printing at all, right?
if you don't print much,
I would say use a friend's printer. Because then it's like,
Well, you can
if you're
go
not
to
planning on taking the boat every week during the summer, don't buy a boat.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like,
well, they still have Office Depot and FedEx and all those
yeah, but
office
that's not
places. They
convenient.
still,
Yeah, but
I
that's
mean, I
not-
know it's not convenient,
Yeah.
but like, if you don't have
No.
a friend,
yeah,
it's for each his own, and a lot
print
of people,
print
a
at
lot.
work.
The problem is when people sign up for these things, and they, like this guy said, I didn't know what I was signing for. I just said, yeah,
That's
and-
on him.
I know. I know. I agree 100%. I agree. But it's just
You
like
know what? When you signed up for his newsletter, you didn't know he's
Yeah.
going to complain about
It's gonna-
printers.
Yeah. All right. It's this time. Anybody wants to add anything? Nick, do you have any story, anything?
Nope. Finally got my Raspberry Pi back up and running
Yeah, and
after my
and
SD card fiasco.
so it was the SD card.
Yep. While the show was on, I was just flashing the SD card. Now she's a running.
And Gal, when you were talking about that small computer versus the uh, Raspberry Pi, it's
Yeah.
also the case for the Pi that you have
Right.
to take into.
It's like, yeah, it's everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cooling, fan, everything.
Yeah, it's a bunch of stuff. Yeah.
The price is terrific.
Again, it depends what you're going to have it for. But this machine here, yeah.
You want to replace your
$155.
Plex? This
Right.
is an excellent solution, by the way. Because it's going to run a lot quieter and much less heat and
less
probably less wattage
Right.
than what you're running right now, right? So,
Yeah,
and it's a more modern CPU.
Yep. And even with external drives, it will still be fast enough.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I can tell you, you can put in this because I have something with that form factor. So there's it's at 6th generation. So there's an M2 slot
Mhm.
and there's an SSD sized place for a drive. I don't know if there's I think only one, but you can probably also stick another SSD and you can have like M drive and two SSD drives. It's possible, or two. It doesn't need to be SSD. It can be a mechanical 2.5 inch. So, yeah, it's possible. If it's SSD, then I can say we can clamp probably two and stick them together with just glue. Mechanical drives, I wouldn't do that.
The speed of the drives or the storage only comes into play when it's does away with commercials
Encoding.
and stuff, right? It scans them.
Yeah.
When you're watching or encoding or whatever, that's
That's RAM mostly.
yeah. All right, well, I'll look into it. Yeah, $155 a piece. All right. So that brings us to the end of today's show. There was, talking about Flex and all this, there was another story there that Disney is cutting a bunch of uh, employees out because their streaming service is not doing well. A lot of people
Yep.
they lost 2 million in 2022.
This is
So
yeah. The reason these services are not doing well is because they are luxury service.
Yeah.
And that's the first thing people are going to cut out when they don't have,
when they need
enough
to
money to
tighten the
spend on
belt,
food.
yeah, yep,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So Disney complaining that they're not doing as well with that is
Again,
like,
it's they still have about
figure
100
your
million.
shit out
Yeah.
and stop complaining,
Yeah,
right? It's
yeah.
like, yeah. And they're taking it out on their employees.
On the employee. Okay, guys, thanks for another great show. Thanks, Katie. Thanks.
No problem.
Gal, Nick, and Spence. And good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Donna, Dina, Mati, Eleanor, Sorid, Yaakov, and Yael. Thank you, everybody, for tuning to Computers 2K. Now, we hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive, update your virus scanner, and change any same passwords where you use them. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. Again, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m. Nick is on Wilmington's 980 The Wave and 107.9 FM with his morning news and commentary show. You can also listen to it on your Echo device. Just tell it to play 980 The Wave. Or you can go later on to the recordings at nickcraig.com. And 7 p.m. on Tuesday, Nick and Brian do the Infection podcast. Survival games, gaming news, political commentary. Great show. Tuesday, 7 p.m. Twitch.tv/Infection Podcast. Have a great week.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.